everyone. This is Sean Sullivan, Executive Director of Running USA, and we continue on our 5 questions programming here today with Todd Oliver, longtime veteran of our industry, continues to do great work here in Central Indiana and beyond. Todd, so good to have you.
Thank you for inviting me on. I appreciate it.
Well, we're grateful to you for your support of Running USA and contributing to the running industry as you have for many years. Perhaps just to start, what are you doing now? What are the races you are involved in? Talk about your company and the things that you're involved with here, please.
Sure. And so right now we have 4 events that we own in Central Indiana. One's an endurance race, an 8-hour endurance race, which is the largest in the state. We have a women's only running event, which offers a half, a 10K and a 5K. It's the largest women's only run in the state. Then we have a couple of others, a holiday run, some other things that we do. We contract manage a few in Indiana as a way to kind of lend our services to some nonprofits out there to help them grow, be a part of the running community in a different way. And then outside of Indiana, we have a marathon in Montana that we contract manage. This is our 10th year for that. It's been super exciting, super different from a learning perspective because we learned that runners are different regionally. What people like in Indiana, people in Montana don't care about. But the things they care about in Montana are fun and different things. So it's been great to try to put on the marketing hat and try to connect with them. So we have a marathon out there that we manage. We now own an event out in Montana. We joke about we finally made we collected some street cred. So now that the Indiana company in Montana, we own one out there, and then we have one that we're working with in North Carolina that we're helping build up and kind of rebrand, reimage, and relaunch. And we're in our 2nd year contract managing that. So we've been in the business 20 years, so to speak. Found my way into the running industry by the love of it, and but in sports marketing my entire life. So the background to connected to is I was in auto racing for a while as a national brand manager. That moved to tennis. I worked on a tennis event on the ATP Tour in Indianapolis, got into sports medicine, and then that led me into the running industry, and I've been here ever since.
Well, thank you for that. You answered my next question of kind of talking a little bit about your path. But, maybe we can go back to that Montana learning experience and the differences. What did it teach you about needing to cater to different demographics or, to your point, regional interests in our industry?
Well, so the first thing we learned is that, and maybe this is because of the competitive environment in Indianapolis. Indianapolis, we have 6 or 7 event companies. We have out-of-state companies that come in and do events here. So we're all fighting for that participant dollar, so to speak. And on nice weekends in the summertime, you may have 4 or 5 events to choose from. So over time, through that competitiveness, I think a lot of the race directors have taken the path of we need to more. You come to us and you get more out of it versus going to Sean's event, you get a hot dog and soda. You come to Todd's event, you get hot dog, soda, you get a band, you get fries, you get everything else with it. In Montana, because they're used to traveling 2 to 3 hours just to run an event, you don't have to do those things. What they appreciate out there is just a well-run event that caters to the runners, timing and scoring, awards, communication. And at the end, they're so thankful that they had an opportunity to go run an event. They don't care about all of the whiz-bang things that we need to do here or we feel like we need to do here to attract runners. Maybe we really don't need to here, but that's, you're kind of playing up against what your competitor's doing. So that's one thing. The second thing that was really, really interesting is that, and maybe this is a duh, as my old CEO used to say, they really appreciate the land. So
Mm.
They clean up after themselves. We pick up very few trash after our events. And so showing the additional things that we're doing at the finish line with additional trash cans and all additional things
Mm.
that we do, they really, really appreciate it out there. Where maybe in the Midwest, Central Indiana, we're now into that, I want to go run this 5K race, but then I'm going to a birthday party, so off I go type of a thing. So it's been very, very refreshing,
Mm.
because my guess is the running industry was probably like this 15 years ago everywhere, where people that ran just really appreciated an opportunity to go out and run a race. And so they were thankful for it. Where now maybe it's a little bit more of a commodity in Indiana.
That's interesting perspective. Okay, I want to go back a little bit to your pre-running industry days. Were you a runner in that time frame? Were you participating in events?
Yeah, I became a runner after college.
Okay.
I played baseball, so the old joke, just like anything else, is running was our punishment. You did something wrong, you ran laps. Um, but I got connected to the local running industry and became a board member, served as a president of Indy Runners, which is the largest running club
Mhm.
in the state. And then that's where I started learning and feeling and hearing and experiencing the true emotion of running and finishing and accomplishing goals for whatever they may be for every age. And it was just, and I still have it today. I mean, I can, as any race director, I can tell you a gazillion stories of people that I've talked to at the finish line that just, make your heart melt. And if that doesn't get you excited to go back to
Mm.
work every day, it's great. But the being around the runners and feeling that, that's what really got me hooked to say, I need to figure out a way to get into this industry from a corporate perspective.
Mm. Okay, so I think there are a lot of folks who've grown professionally through running, and that's what they know. You obviously talked about some of that brand management experience in the motorsports industry and some other things. What perspective did those previous experiences bring to your running industry hat that maybe has served you well?
I mean, that's an excellent question, because to me, it's been key. When I worked for the RCA Tennis Championships, was a stop on the men's ATP tour, um, hosted by one of the big clubs in Indianapolis. The organization, the tennis organization in Indianapolis, won Players' Choice 10 years in a row. So the deal is, we joked, we don't have mountains, we don't have oceans to come, so we got to make sure that the players are they really felt taken care of when they came to Indianapolis. If not, they're not going to come back here. They'll choose and go somewhere else. We took that same mentality and then we applied it to our running events, take care of the runners, take care of the volunteers, try to focus on the details. And the philosophy is, that's how you put on events, whether it's running events. We've also done private gallery tours. We've done wine and cheese. And the joke is, aren't you guys the running event company? It's like, yeah, but the deliverables are the same, right? You take care of your customers, you take care of your clients, and make sure that they walk away thinking, boy, that was really worth the money. That was a lot of fun. All of that we learned from the tennis and the motorsport side of taking care of the folks involved. And we also joke, it's kind of like we're putting on a show. And the running events now, we're putting on a show, but it's starring you, the runner. And so we want to make them feel good when they leave there. And that came from those other industries.
Mm. That makes sense. And we're neighbors. We're, in some respects, we don't live too far away from each other here in central Indiana, and it is a special quality that Indianapolis possesses when it comes to hosting events, a little secret sauce that is included. And you can certainly see that when you get out to one of your events. So well done there. Okay. Share more about, maybe your perspective versus, 50,000 person mega endurance events. What can those events learn from, your experiences with your company, and vice versa? What are, what are the perspectives that it can be shared?
I think the number one thing that we would focus on or tell interns coming in and focus on is that just because we're small, I mean, whatever small is defined as, maybe it's 500, maybe it's 2,500, maybe it's five, but small in the realm of the industry. You have your top tier, which are your big event. Just because we're in that middle tier of an event doesn't mean we can't produce that same experience as the big tier. Now, that may, from a race director's perspective, that may cost a little bit more money. From a volunteer perspective, that may need more volunteers. From an execution perspective, that may need a longer work list. But if you do all those things, that experience will be the same as a larger event. The only difference is the participants won't be around 20,000 people. They may only be about 1,000 people. But it will still make a difference if you go through and you put the work in, right? I mean, it's just like anything else. If you put the work in and the results will come. A lot of times I think some of their smaller race events that we chat with feel like they can never get there, or their default is we don't have the resources. Well, if you make the resources, you find the resources, you work for the resources, you can get there. You just have to put the work into it.
Yeah, no doubt. Okay. A couple more minutes with you, Todd. I guess I'd like to go back to your experience on the run club side. And this is maybe a bit of a selfish question, but I'm curious to know from that perspective, anything that Running USA can do to support run clubs in your mind. I know we have members who are clubs, and there's some great associations out there that we partner with that service clubs specifically. Anything that you can think of that would make for good partnership or education or research?
Maybe helping some of the social clubs, so the clubs that are being formed on the different social media channels, the Facebook meetup groups, whatever. Maybe helping them or giving them a lifeline and a resource of how to form, because I think there are benefits for being a formalized club, whether it be a nonprofit or for-profit, whatever. But if there's a true connect point, and if runners know that maybe it's a little more manageable, or the club is being managed, maybe it's professional, but having those resources to come together to be able to push out, I think would be helpful. It seems like, we get I'm sure everybody else does. You get these clubs and these teams that come to your event and they sign up and they have 8 people, and you try to figure out who they are and you don't know who they are. It could be, Todd's team, which is obviously, the fun family types things. But you get these club names that come in, and it would be great if we could try to figure out who they are in some formalized fashion or informal fashion, so that our events can work with them a little bit more and give them a better experience. We invite all run clubs, all social clubs, to come to our event finish lines for free, because we want them to hang out together. We want them to interact with other clubs. But a lot of times you don't know who they are, what kind of structure they have. Is it somebody just putting together the group of people running together down the street or not? So maybe there's some component of that Running USA could have a section or a special outreach to these groups to say, come to our conference or be a part of our, because we can show you how to go through the nonprofit status. We can show you what kind of things you should be worried about from a liability perspective. We can help you with your marketing and help you get bigger, stronger, versus them just Googling or talking to other people out there. You guys become that resource, how to get to the next level.
That's good feedback. Yeah, no doubt. Okay. Last question, and then want you to kind of provide your plug zone, how folks can connect with you. But I know you like to dive into numbers and look at some of the data. Any trends that you're seeing with your races here that may be beneficial for the audience overall?
One of the things that we do focus on is runner retention because in our minds, runner retention is that scorecard if you've done a good job or not, right? At the end of the day, getting those, if they come back multiple years, then they're basically your best salespeople because they're coming back. There's a reason they're coming back. So our focus has really been on runner retention, and we are seeing a little bit of uptick in that over the last couple of years. Who knows what really is triggering that? It could be the fact that as an industry, our numbers are going up. So those people that ran the last couple of years are still saying, "Hey, this is fun. We're going to keep going out there." Or we're hoping is that when they have a choice, they're coming back to us versus somebody else because of what that experience that they're receiving. But that's a number that we look at every year and see how that scales out, in hopes that that's the true measurement of if we're doing a good job or if we're not doing a good job.
Yep. I love that. That seems to be a hot topic, the retention piece, as we move forward as an industry. Okay, Todd, how can folks connect with you if maybe they want to network and add on to this conversation?
Sure. The company is called Carmel Road Racing Group. We still keep a generic website up that kind of highlights some of our stuff. So that's carmelroadracinggroup.com. And if they find that way, they can connect me there, or Todd at carmelroadracinggroup.com as well. Pretty findable, whether that's good or bad on the beautiful World Wide Web that we have, the old fashioned name for it. But happy to chat with anybody if anybody has any questions.
Todd, thank you for joining us on 5 Questions. Thank you personally for being kind to me since moving here to Central Indiana and all the work you do in the running industry and being a member of Running USA. We're grateful to you.
Well, appreciate it. And thanks for the interest. That means a lot to me.
Oh, absolutely. And for those who have watched today, thank you for joining us on 5 Questions. Take a look at runningusa.org for all the latest in our running industry, where we educate, elevate, and engage the running industry and our constituents. Take care, everybody.